Greetings, dear hearts. Hey, it's exciting to be sharing Classic Miracle number 15 because it brings back such happy and empowering memories for me. I was a young author working on my first book and really didn't know what I was doing. Just was taking it challenge by challenge. And at one point, I began to study the work of Dr. Nathaniel Branden. Now, Nathaniel Branden was so esteemed that he's been often called the father of the self-esteem movement. And in the 70s and 80s, the self-esteem movement was the movement. So he was really famous. By the time this all is occurring, he was older. I'm guessing in his 70s. And I just said, boy, it'd be great to interview him. And for some reason, I wanted to interview him in person. So again, single mom, where am I going to get the money to fly out to Los Angeles? But the much bigger question was, would he give a little tiny, preemie author an interview? So I thought, well, I'm just going to call his secretary and ask. So I called the number that I found for him. Yes, it was available. And he answered the phone. Very distinctive, deep German accent. And I said, Dr. Branden, yes, my name. Right. So I told him who I was and that I was writing a book and that I wanted to quote him, but I wanted to get his permission for what parts of his work I could quote and how to give him credit and all those things. And in fact, I had some things I wanted to build on, and I wanted to see if that was acceptable as well. And he said, yes, I will meet with you. Come out to Los Angeles, let me know when you're here, and we'll set up an appointment. Okay, Omaha, Nebraska, Mama. Just had to figure out how to get herself to Los Angeles to interview Dr. Branden. So I started telling people that I was going to Los Angeles, which is just what I do with dreams, that, you act as if it's going to happen. And close friends knew that I was often, I can't wait until they knew that sometimes I really had a ticket and sometimes I just was believing the ticket would come. Well, as it turned out, a couple weeks later, my pastor, so I was the director of a Catholic gospel choir. So those two words weren't used in tandem very often. Catholic choirs weren't usually made up of equal black and white, and they usually weren't gospel choirs. But we had one of the only Catholic gospel choirs in the Midwest. There was one in Arizona at the time. At any rate, so my pastor asked me to stay after church one day, and he said, MK, 60 people in your choir. I mean, it's really just been amazing what you're doing, and I want to support you, and I want to thank you. And I thought a great way to thank you would be to send you to listen to the best gospel choir in the country, perhaps the best Catholic gospel choir in the world. And I said, really? And he said, yeah, they're in Los Angeles. Would you be willing to let us fly you out to Los Angeles? Yes, Pastor, that would be great. So we set the time, and I got the tickets, and I contacted Dr. Branden, and I said, here are the 4 days I'll be there. And he said, great, this is when I can meet. And we set up an hour of interview time. That meeting, again, changed my life. Yes, I was able to hear the gospel choir, and yes, they changed my life too. But it was just amazing meeting with him. And at the end, I said, how can I ever thank you? And he said, authors need teachers as much as teachers need authors, or no one ever hears what we've written. So you are important to me as well. Wow. Happy miracles.